Well, what have you thought of your group so far this spring?
I think that, we're the biggest question mark, right? And we're the one that, from a defensive standpoint, for sure, that everybody, is kind of trying to figure out where are we at, right? And that's the question mark that we have coming on the field. You lose two guys that played the amount of football that Megason and Woods did. Now you're saying who's that guy that's ready to step up next. And so it's been good to see that our guys are definitely trying to rise to that challenge, trying to our big thing right now has been talking about leave no doubt, right? Nobody should have a question about you. Leave no doubt in what you do and how you do it. I think Smoke, obviously Jalen Davis-Robertson's done a really good job. Not played as much football, so he's got ways to grow as far as just bank reps, right, and put himself in that position, but obviously has the athleticism, the talent to do so. A.J. Davis has had probably one of his best off seasons with us, you know what I mean? He's kind of understand where he's at in the program, what that standard is, what it should look like, and he's come out and he's done some really good things throughout. And then, Jahari has been, the older guy. He's been the guy that you want to see grow, lead, develop. He's got to continue to take steps forward and put a guy like Deuce Harmon in a position where he understands that standard coming in the door, what that looks like. Obviously Deuce has played at a high level, but I'm going to challenge him, and we're going to ask him to do things that may be out of his comfort zone or he hasn't done, and we want to see him accept that coaching as well.
Yeah, I was about to ask about Deuce and where you want to see him take the next steps. As a guy who started games in the SEC, there's some expectations for him coming in.
I think sometimes the big thing for us as coaches is we think, all right, that guy's played a whole lot, so he should just come in and he should be moving at 100 miles an hour. But he's got to learn the defense, right? He's got to learn me, coaching-wise, and what that looks like and what the requirement is, and then put all of it together. So at times where you might be hesitant or you may be thinking or you may be moving slow is because you're trying to process the information. And so you've seen him grow in 11 practices as far as understanding what that looks like, understanding the defense, right? What are the calls? What are the checks? All of those things. And now be able to put that in place where you can see him really play. You can see what his true ability is as opposed to when he's kind of got to think while he's doing it. So.
And A.J. Davis, taking those steps forward that he has, what has stood out to you the most as far as that progression? Where has he shined in your mind?
I think he's looked like the kid that we recruited at Skyline, right? He's been fast in and out his break. He showed top-end speed. He's made plays on the ball. Those are all things that when we're recruiting him at Liberty, when we're recruiting him here, that we felt like he showed flashes of on film and then was able to compete at that level. Coming in, sometimes you have a plan of what you think a guy's progression should be, and each guy's different, you know what I mean? So we got to make sure that we bring him along in the way that's best for the team as well as him and put him in the best position. And so I think he's grown up probably more than anything in the offseason. I've seen him mature and grow up, and it's translated to the field.
With Smoke getting back out on the field after his hamstring, how have you seen him, or what has he shown since coming back, and does he look 100%, or is he got to get through? Or
every now and then he's still having a little tightness in it, so we just make sure that we're smart. We want the best spring possible, but we win games in August and September and moving forward. So we got to make sure that those guys are in place with that. Our athletic training, our strength and conditioning staff do a great job, so I trust them. They tell me where we should be workload-wise, what that looks like, and what they say goes. But when he's been out there, you've seen him move, right? And that's his strength, his speed, the way he moves in and out of his break. And so you've been able to see those things. And same for him, like Deuce, a year ago, he was learning all of this. So sometimes you thought he was not processing or moving slow. Now he knows those things.
Speaking of speed, Teddy Knox getting some work now. What is intriguing about him at the cornerback spot?
He's an athlete, right? So he's got all of those intangibles. Straight line speed, he's probably close to one of the fastest on the team, so that's a big deal. And the back end, it's him learning, right? Not playing defense probably since he was in high school, for the most part. But we've seen him on special teams be able to make plays in the open field. We've seen him run down at a breakneck speed. And now you take those things, you move him on the defensive standpoint. And the thing I love the most about Ted is he wants to be coached. Like, we were watching clips while we were in the meetings, and he's like, well, what did I do here? Can you talk to me about my technique or whatever here? I'm like, all right, let's come meet outside of it. Let's get some of those things done because we can't bog down that meeting. But he wants to be coached, and I love that because that means he is vested and he wants to be better and do better.
Jahari Rogers, he's the veteran, the old man of the group, so to speak. What do you look for out of him, and what's his role looking like early on?
He and I talked yesterday, and we talked throughout the spring, and he's like, Coach, what do I need to do better? Every rep that you execute needs to be a Saturday rep. It needs to be a game day rep. You know, you've been in the big show. You've made big plays for us, and at the collegiate level, we want to see you take those reps like it's a game every single day, right? I think he is not nearly as emotional as a player as he was when we walked in the door, and so that shows maturity. You know, really been pleased with that. He's not let one play dictate the way practice is going to go, good or bad. And so, you know, you love to see that maturity. And he talks to the group, right? He pulls them to the side, Coach, I got it, you know, and make sure that those guys kind of understand this ain't it today, or this is where we need to be. Let's keep that standard the way that it is. So I've been pleased with that part of things. And I'm probably most proud of the way he's done academically in this past year. That's not always been his strong suit by choice, probably more than anything, but he's come out and he's really put himself in a position where he can focus on football when he's at football, because he's handled his business outside of here, right? When you're living right, it usually translates.
As the corners kind of go through this transition, looking for 2 new starters, how much does it help this group to have the safeties be where they are with the veterans that are returning there?
It's awesome because, you know, Coach Simons and I spend a lot of time with the back end together, right? Overall period. And so I can go to McGill, I can go to Zay, I can tell them, hey, these guys need to turn it up a notch. They need you to push the envelope. They need you to make sure you hold them accountable, right? And not just baby them along. And our guys, they do that. They're a tough love group for sure. And so they've done a really good job. That whole safety room, to be completely honest with you, the juniors and the seniors that we have there have done a really good job of helping bring the corners along, you know, and it's exciting for us in our room at the corner position as well to kind of have to answer those questions. That fires me up, so I'm good.
And the defense as a whole, at the way you guys played last year, obviously was huge for this team. You step up to a new challenge in the ACC. You have a lot of new faces. You have a lot of returning faces. Just overall, what does this defense look like, you know, with spring kind of close to wrapping up?
Mm-hmm. We're in a good spot, I think, from a veteran standpoint, right? Okay, yeah, you have some question marks, some guys that you want to see in those live situations, but you put together a D-line like we have. You got linebackers that are veteran guys and played a ton of snaps. You got safeties in the secondary. They're going to bring those guys along, and now what the requirement is set by the veteran group. You know what I mean? Nobody's kind of learning on the fly because you got so many returning faces. And so I think that's very exciting and big for us moving into the ACC, right? You're taking that step up where it's not like you're taking it up with guys that haven't done it. You're taking it up with a group of guys that have done it, and then they've done it together. Like last year, you know, that whole year we were together and had a really good season overall as a team, but defensively did something pretty special, and now we want to double down on that, right? You don't want to be a one-hit wonder.